Good morning, Venkatesh, and thanks for joining on a Saturday. So let's begin. So why don't we start with a quick round of your introduction? So my name is Brudul, and I have been a veteran in the corporate world for more than 3 decades.
I started my career as an entrepreneur a long time ago, say around 20 years ago, when I was in my college times. After that, I have done multiple, say, startups. Post my, say, entrepreneurial journey, joined a few corporates. I'd worked with agencies like Ogilvy and Digitas, where I was heading customer engagement and strategy. Later,
Great.
I moved to corporates like Mahindra and Mahindra, ITC, Kimberly
Oh,
Clark, and now with MTR Foods.
great. And you look after the digital transformation. You are the Chief Digital Transformation Officer, if I can
I've been
remember
recently
correctly.
designated that.
Oh,
I have,
okay.
as such, I take care of all things digital marketing, digital transformation programs, data analytics.
Right, right, right.
And more than that, I
Okay.
would say my primary role is to make money using digital. It's not about managing anything as such, but how do I make the business make more money? How do I get higher net sales value or lower costs? I'm measured on EBIT. I am not measured on program implementation or other stuff. I have a target of EBIT. How do I enhance the EBIT of the organization using digital technologies and data analytics?
How do you think, over the time, with the help of digital transformation, successful digital transformation have been able to transform the customer journey? How have been your experience in that? How has digital transformation actually transformed the customer journey? And for good, of course, for good. How's that happened? Where are the technologies and what
Sure.
role technologies are playing at the various touch points and in terms of transforming the customer journey?
At this point in time, especially it gets very interesting because if you were to say customer journey and customer experience at each touch point in the customer journey, we have to talk about three things. One is how is it standardized? How do we have a standard customer experience that or a minimum customer experience that I deliver at every time the consumer or a customer gets in touch with me? Various touch points exist. Say you would have an online touch point, on a digital platform like a social media platform or a website or any of those things. Or it could be an offline touch point wherein a consumer is walking into a store or consumer is coming to your service station. How is the experience when they interact with your chatbot? Your experience be when they're trying to interact with your salespeople? So can I enable interaction to be had with a consumer using digital platforms has been something that I have tried to do various times. One of the first places I possibly say, for example, an FMCG company, you basically will make us a Salesforce application that our salespeople would use to go to a retailer. Now, the influx of technology into that piece has come so much that today, using Gen AI, we can completely tell people what are the products that the retailer is going to be buying at this stage? What do we predict? So what stocks to basically keep and so on, the inventory optimization. What should the new products that he should pitch, and how should that pitch be? He can even practice the pitch today using a Gen AI based tool. In terms of how much does the algorithm actually recommend him using these words? How would he have to rephrase himself? How would he or she would have to come across to the retailer in order to make that sale? So using applications, using digital technology, this touch point has been completely transformed today, if I would say across industries, especially the place where a salesman is going to a retailer to sell a FMCG CPG product. Similarly, you can look at every other space in terms of the other touch points. Today, we are able to do much more with our websites than we have ever been able to do. So we have multiple augmented reality, virtual reality spaces. We have AI again coming into a place where we are able to do real time customization. Many of these touch points today are completely digital, and at every touch point, we are able to do a digital intervention, which is either standardizing the customer journey or second, personalizing the journey. How do I create personalization of the data that I have, and while respecting privacy? So this is another very interesting aspect of the digital transformation. How at every place we are able to use third-party data, in-house first-party data, and any other cookie-related data, which is going to be say retired now. The cookie, as we call it. All of this put together, we have another space wherein we have a new consumer experiences that can be created out of data that you can gather out of every touch point in the consumer journey. We have again digital transformation, say initiatives like say a CDP or a DFB or an overall custom consumer 360, building a 360 across all of its various data aspects, using multiple technologies like Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Salesforce Service Cloud, to name one stack, or you can use the same from other stacks as well. So all of these underlying technologies will enable you to transform certain experiences, especially in the digital consumer experiences space. Even offline has been, as I said, the first example I gave. Even offline as consumer interactions are also being completely transformed using digital technology today.
Look, I think you're absolutely right, and the way the integration is happening, and I think digital transformation is more about how integration, what level of integration you bring in at every touch point, and how the seamless movement of the journey happens, and that brings me to the next part of the question, which is when we look at the omni-channel uh, methods, and when we talk about omni-channel interaction. Uh, how are the new digital tools ensuring that there is a seamless movement of a customer during various omnichannel interactions that the customer is having using multiple platforms? How he can seamlessly move from a web interface to a mobile interface, or when he's interacting with.
A unique service and convenience is being packaged. Now, across all of this various say, sales channels, typical sales channels, you would have a marketing layer that is sitting on top of them. How do I market better to my people who are looking to buy on e-commerce? How do I better market to people who are looking to buy me from a retail store? How do I better market myself to say somebody who is purely digital plus Gen Z, who wants it in the next 15 minutes, he or she wants the next 15 minutes to buy some of the products. So this has been the FMCG marketers say journey from a purely typical mainline to today multi and omni channel. And every space the technology is available today. If I were to say to do a complete end-to-end planning, how do we deconstruct our sales to different channels? How much did I get by implementing a particular say trade marketing scheme, or vis-a-vis how much did I get by say doing an influencer marketing program, or be very highly focused social media program? How do I get all of these things to basically say what role did it play in me selling me to the consumer, and where should I be focusing more? How much budgets move from where? Now this is the omni-channel space. That's the way I look at it. It's more about where am I getting the sales from, where am I trying to deliver value, than being omni-channel for the sake of it.
Right,
Anybody can
right.
do being yeah.
Right. No, no, I think that's right. And one of the things which you interestingly pointed about using digital channels, whether it is in the commerce space or the traditional e-commerce space or the growing ONDC space, uh, what role, according to you, is there for you especially because you are in the area of digital transformation. So, what role digital shelf analytics play for you in devising the marketing and distribution strategy? So that you can manage the challenges which are posed by these digital commerce players.
I wouldn't see them as a challenge. I would see them as partners. They are very important partners for the FMCG CPG industry players to reach out to those consumer needs which they themselves are unable to better serve. So a typical FMCG CPG organization would struggle to deliver something to your doorstep. They're extremely good at taking it and putting it into a shelf on a retailer's shelf space. And the shelf that most FMCG digital teams would be looking at is an image of the retailer shelf. Moving across from there to basically getting the product to your doorstep or in the next 15 minutes, as quick commerce players are doing, I would say that's a great partnership to have the entire ecosystem feeding off your products, your market share, your equity that you have built over a period of time for all these big players. Is a good one to have in terms of getting say a convenient approach to serving a consumer need at a particular moment of truth. That's how I would put it.
So how do you ensure that in this very busy world on a digital commerce site when somebody is searching for a product, your product ranks on the top and comes on the top? How do you ensure that that when he's searching, and because this guy who's buying it from a quick commerce platform is making decisions in D2C, the decision making is in minutes, as opposed to probably in a brick and mortar situation where it could be hours. So how do you ensure that you are there on the top, and what kind of analytics you are driving or you're gaining from the purchase behavior of your customers when they are interacting using quick commerce platform and purchasing there? Because I understand a lot of FMCG, especially foods, uh, the quick commerce is becoming a really important thing. So how are you managing, or how are you transforming yourself to be ready in these kinds of challenges?
See, the way you are ranked on a search on any of these marketplaces depends on three factors. One is your content quality. How much content do you have on your listings? What kind of content do you have? Is it matching the search query that somebody is sending you? So we need to have analytics in terms of the content quality on each of these web pages that you create within these marketplaces. So today there are tools which will tell you what is your content score, how can you match the content scores of your competition if necessary,
Correct.
and or exceed those benchmarks that you might want to create new benchmarks. Where do you need to correct? What kind of new content that needs to be added? All of these assess analytics tools are there. Some of them are used across the industry very prevalently. And the second piece is when you basically bid for keywords, wherein once you have your content, then you need to possibly bid for your keywords to ensure you're there in the first page or two. If you're not there in the first page or two, it's very unlikely that you possibly are getting anything from your search as a marketplace component, or search from even Google or any other major search platforms like Bing. So such space essentially believes in the bidding and content quality. And finally, the reviews and ratings and other pieces, the third piece, wherein how are you able to address them effectively? If the consumers do see on these marketplaces that you have a lot of bad ratings, you would definitely would not want to buy from you. So, or would possibly be a little hesitant to buy from. So, addressing those reviews and
Right.
ratings, people going to reaching out to the consumers, solving the problem, at least appear to have a concern towards the consumer's experience and the consumer's overall
Right.
uh, say well-being, so that the other consumers think I'm less likely to get cheated because the touch and feel of a product is not there on an e-commerce platform.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's absolutely right. And when we are talking about consumers, I think one uh, discussion point which is happening really much in the circles today is a debate between personalization and privacy. Now, every marketer tries to do as much personalization as possible. And of course, the technology is able to provide you that level of personalization. But as an ethical marketer, where do you think and where do you see people or organizations drawing the line between personalization and privacy?
This is again what I would like to call a permission marketing is a space that you need to get into. At every point we have privacy as a very key concern that's coming out, and that's where something that's places where consumers especially would want to make a decision on a marketplace platform, or buying you on a marketplace platform, or even interacting with you on various other means, wherein when you respect their privacy, when you do not, they are hesitant to today. That is the
Right.
experience that we is possibly that we're able to see across multiple touch points that we have at this point in time. Now, legislation has a view. Legislation, we have now a Data Protection Act in India that is going to come in force or has come in force. And every organization has a responsibility to protect the data of their consumers. I would say there needs to be a value exchange. Consumers are concerned about it, government is concerned about it. But in my own personal opinion, I would say there needs to be a value exchange between uh, why somebody needs to give you data. To my mind, it's about a value exchange between the company and the consumer as to why should the consumer provide these details to you. Are you able to provide any value in terms of taking the consumer data and improving the consumer experience, or are you able to give anything to the consumer in terms of increased benefit on the purchase or purchase experience or even retail experience? until that piece is actually answered about taking data, using data, making a lot of analytics on them, and trying to get to a stage where you're able to better sell something is not going to be worth it. You need to be able to add value to the consumer experience. You need to be able to add value to the consumer's transaction. You need to be able to add value to the consumer on all the various touch points using the data that is given by the consumer. And then this whole piece is a self-sustaining aspect wherein consumers keep giving you more data as and when they feel that, hey, somebody has taken my data, but they are use them responsibly and also added value to me in that process. Legislations can address it to an extent. Consumer preferences can address it to a certain extent, but this value exchange mechanism, in my opinion, is very important. And where I would say the foundation on the bedrock of the relationship between an organization and the consumer. By getting data, I'm giving you value. And hence, a value exchange continues as a sustainable mechanism.
Okay, so my next point to understand really is you are getting a lot of data coming from multiple touch points as you mentioned, and what kind of learning and what kind of predictive modeling you are using, or you should, I'm not just in your current role, but what do you think, especially in an FMCG companies where a lot of data is coming from multiple touch points, has it been able to help drive more of predictable behavior of from the customers? And have you been able to develop some kind of models based on that data? Is that level of digital transformation happening in the FMCG world?
It is. It is. Uh, on all aspects which are possibly very critical for business, say if you were to say the sales, the marketing, and supply chain, they are undergoing a very tremendous amount of say transformation today. All of the top FMCG, CPG companies are today have their entire SNOP planning on a tool. We have, of course, the digital core SAP existed from a very long time, and
Right,
now we are able to add on to it using marketing planning tools, marketing media mix modeling tools, which are helping marketers to better mix their media,
right,
sales reach expansion tools, sales extraction tools in terms of ensuring that we are able to get more sales from each individual retailer.
right,
And then
right,
we have loyalty and relationship marketing programs, which are working across multiple say distributor retailer personas to basically help get them better experiences from our organization. All of these pieces are now definitely under digital touch points. And on top of it, if you talk about the predictive analytics, now there are tools which can predict what will a retailer buy. There are tools which can predict when should I market or send an email to a end consumer. There are AI today can predict what time of the day should an organization communicate what message to a particular consumer. This entire piece can get automated, can be done by AI/ML today. But how much of this is actually practically being used in our industry? I wouldn't say that much. There
right,
are areas where they have made progress. There are areas which offer in the entire digital transformation spectrum. There are areas which offer higher value and immediate cost savings, especially for example the supply chain,
right,
manufacturing and operations. So this digital transformation is more mature in the CPG FMCG space. When you get to the marketing, it is more in terms of say I don't have till recently as an FMCG marketer or FMCG digital transformation person, I would have struggled. I would possibly have struggled to get data of my first party data of the consumers that I have. So the
right,
last 5 years or something, I would say, especially the world over, there's been a focus on collecting first party data, and this first party data collection has enrich many databases, ensure that FMCG companies are able to better market to the consumers, able to reach them better using their data in terms of a supply chain. Where should I have depots? Where should I have distributions? What is my entire catchment area analysis? All of these
right,
things have got it better. But in terms of really advancing it to the next level in terms of prediction and having prescriptive analytics guiding many of the decisions in FMCG industry, it's possibly been not as advanced as for other industries as such. essentially
Hmm.
because, as I said, the data has been a challenge. Any kind of
Right.
predictability would depend on quality of data. The higher the
Absolutely.
quality of data that you would have, better it gets. So
I know,
that's been
absolutely.
a challenge. So that's where the industry is, I would say, at this stage.
Right. And I think with data comes another challenge of security, right? And especially when you are doing for a digital transformation across the enterprise. What cybersecurity challenges do you think are coming up, especially now with AI tools being used and managing those elements? How do you think these are coming up, and what organizations should look for in terms of cybersecurity?
Reactive uh, security rather than a passive security. An active security, active cyber security, wherein it's active combat of various threats and threat environments is today possible. Now, earlier we would possibly have a very passive uh, defensive wall kind of a system wherein you only had a wall. Today we have AI enabling us to go after a threat, go after an attack, observe analytics, observe patterns to basically shield various new places. It's about a ever evolving space in cybersecurity where AI is enabling various other threats it's creating as well. Somebody using an AI or somebody not really in terms of completely AI, but some amount of machine learning techniques in cyber attacks is able to do better. Similarly, we also have the counter offense in terms of a better AI enabled security system, which can also help me do better in terms of the safety and safeguards of the overall organization. And the data that you basically have is, again, today we are in a completely cloud space. Most organizations are in
Right.
the cloud journey that they have already undertaken. Most of the data is on, say, on these large AWS, Microsoft, or a Microsoft cloud, or an Oracle cloud. Any of these things are on cloud, so most of them are not on prem. So the security of some of these in terms of physically brute force attacks on them, physically attacking the network and taking over, are possibly much lesser today,
Correct.
given the technology
Correct.
that we have. Or a physical security of some of these systems are not really at danger because of the reside DR that we are doing. The disaster recovery is very robust today. So the physical security and at many places say network level securities and inherent backdoor tools to the operating systems, and these level of threats have no longer exist today. Or I wouldn't say no longer exist, but
With these kinds of new architecture coming into place, and especially threat prediction becoming very important, where predictive threat management happens, things are really becoming very good. My last question to you, Venkatesh, is digital transformation. Different organizations are driven by different set of people. Uh, Somewhere it is CFO driven, sometimes it is probably CIO driven.
the way they use digital technologies. How do I drive the culture for people to collaborate using these digital technologies? That's very, very key and crux. Then, if
Right,
the processors are not there to basically get a transformation done, that will never work as well. So,
right.
then large process transformation actually built into digital transformation, to my opinion. And then finally, the technology itself, make a good choice and one which is going to serve you well in the future. So a marketer possibly makes a better decision which is guided towards making money, and that's the advantage of doing so.
No, that's perfectly right, and that echoes my sentiments also, because I always feel that marketers should be on the driving seat when the organizations are looking for digital transformation, because they understand the world view far better, uh, and and the transformation which is happening in the external world, they understand it far better. So I think thank you so much for your time, really.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate and hope to connect soon.